Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by the ever so beautiful Tobi Hight. She's here joining us live today. I think she's back home in Oklahoma. I haven't asked, but we're excited. She's an esthetician and Reiki practitioner. The name of the company is Third Eye Candy, and we are excited for you to be back. And of course, I'm going to ask you about your Labor Day vacation because it's been a while. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm loving the new look. Makeup looks great as always, and the hair looks adorable.
Thank you, thank you. I accidentally picked out some of my eyelash extensions this weekend, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna zhuzh it up a bit.
Beautiful. Well, you look great. It's excited to have you back. Fill me in. What's new? Where have you been?
So I went to Newport for Labor Day weekend. It was a good time. It was a good time. Did a little more exploring of the area. I still feel like, even though I've been there a few times now, I'm so new to the area. I mean, I know it's a pretty small place, but yeah, I had a great time.
Like I
We
said before the show, I went with my kids. We ended up at my friend's boat up in Massachusetts. And then on the way home, I drove through Newport. I was hoping to run into you. We went to that mooring restaurant and then I don't know the name of the dock over there, but we walked around all the shopping. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful weather.
Yeah, it was amazing. My boyfriend did a show in Massachusetts, and I think it's called a Tooknet. No, that doesn't sound right. Something like that. And
Okay.
we picked his son up in Boston. So we made it out to Massachusetts a few times too.
Wow.
And then on Labor Day, he had a show at the Landing, which I guess is the last place that Jimmy Buffett performed before he died.
Oh my gosh, I've heard of it. I've never been though. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. So you had a good time, enjoyed it out there.
Yes.
Oh, now back to work, right?
Back to work, and your kids are back to school, right?
Oh, they sure are. 7 and 9. We got fourth grade and second grade. The both boys are doing great. Not as happy as mom.
I bet you're so happy to get them back in school.
I am. It is. It's a relief. Yeah, really, for sure. Uh-huh. Now, you don't have any kids of your own, do you?
I don't have kids of my own, but I
But
have four nephews, a niece, and then I help with kids every morning too. So I know the routine
you
of getting
get
them ready
it.
for school. I have a
Hmm.
friend that lives right by me. She has 7 kids.
Oh my gosh. Do you help her?
And yeah, I help her. I mean, yes, I help her get them ready for school because she has to leave at 6 a.m. So on the days that she works, I go over there, I get them all ready for school. But they're really good. They're really good.
Wow, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. My goodness, you were really good with kids. And with your company, what have you been doing with Third Eye Candy? Fill us in.
Just working. I've been like diligently working on my emotion code homework because I want to get it completed before the end of the year so I can start on my next thing. But yeah, doing Reiki, doing tarot card readings, doing facials, seeing all my lovely clients. I was glad to get back in the routine. I'm
I'm
still trying to
sure.
get used to the whole traveling 1 week a month and then working. And so, yeah, I'm still kind of finding that balance. But my clients are honestly what make me feel grounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
'Cause-
it looks like now is the time. This is like busy season for you, right?
Yes. I mean, really every season is kind of busy. Sometimes it does slow down a little bit in the summertime just because parents have their kids and don't have quite as much free time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, holiday season really starts to pick up.
Oh, awesome. Well, we're excited that you're here to talk more about whether it's the energy healing emotion code technique. What did you want to share with us today?
What did I want to share with you today? Um, so let's talk a little bit about dating because now that I'm like in this relationship and it's long distance, I mean, I just think that relationships are really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Yes.
dating like for you now that you have kids?
Doesn't exist much. Let me explain to you. Okay. So my kids are 9 and 7. I've been always been single, right? So I had my kids by myself in a sense. So I was always single. And then I started dating after my son was 2.5. I was all excited, trying to trust someone and then realizing after 2 years, holy cow, this person, this guy wants my time. I don't have time to give you like I used to. Like I'm always with my kids. I can't go to your house. It's got to be here. We got to get a babysitter. Like I don't have a mom to watch my kids. And after that 2 years, it was like, I'm like, I don't think I could do this. Well, what did I do? I got back into another relationship. And this guy, oh, I'm so understanding. I get it. I understand. I'm a dad. I have four. You're dad of four that you've been out of their lives. Well, full time since they were like five. So, and they live in another state. So it's not like well, again, you don't have time for me. I'm like, we talked about this. How can I give myself time when I have to put myself first, which I really don't, but you say that because technically I have to because I'm the one, paying the bills, paying the mortgage, and then I have to put my kids next. So if you want to be someone's number four, I said you could date me. Yes, 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 that's great. And then it becomes you don't have time. So then after last year, I finally said, I don't want to date. I'm really don't I have my two boys. We sleep in the same bed. I'm just not there right now. Then I met someone who wanted to date. And I'm like, here's the deal. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm really not dating material. And I could see you every now and then. So I see him every few weeks. But I still get, oh, you're so busy. And I'm like, I told you this. I don't want to be in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. I don't have time to do that to my kids anymore. I can't. So that's that. So it's really rough right now. And I think one day I would love to have that, but it's really hard when you have time to give barely for yourself, let alone your two kids.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it being non-existent right now. Like that doesn't bother me right now. But there was a time I was like lonely, but I'm like, I can't be lonely anymore. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
So I think I need a man who has kids, young kids, and not to be rude, but I always said it like this way, and take it as you wish. But I'm like, I need someone who's like widowed, who like is a dad, who really gets what I get, who's a single dad with kids. Nothing, don't want to wish anyone ill, but like who's really doing what I'm doing. That's the
Yeah.
only type of person that can empathize with what I'm dealing with. Other than that, it's like guys who don't have their kids. It's every other weekend or every now and then. So they don't really understand when I say 24/7, there's no every other weekends for me. But why am I talking? This is your show, and this always happens. You're so cute. Tell me.
Because I'm learning from you. I mean, I've been dating my whole life. I've never been married. So
Mhm.
I've been dating and learning, and obviously it's not worked out. So I just like hearing other people's
Yeah,
stories and situations. And I think you're right. I think that it's easier whenever you date someone and your lives are kind of like aligned in that way, your schedules, your
yeah,
lives. But it's like it's hard to find the compromise in the areas that your lives aren't aligned, whether it comes to the amount of time you have or
yeah.
your differences in careers or the places that you live or the places that you travel, it's like I think that's been one of my hardest things too, is because for so long I was the type of girl who would give up anything for a guy, just like okay, I watched my mom do that, right? Like do too much
Yeah.
for guys and kind of lose herself. And I think that loving really hard is amazing, but like you were saying, like loving yourself is most important. I mean, it's a priority. You can't lose yourself in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm. That is.
Then, like I was on that end of the spectrum of like giving too much, right? Where it wasn't reciprocated. And
Mm-hmm.
then after being burned enough times, I kind of went to the other side where I was like, nope, I need my time, my career, my goals, my hobbies, my this, my that. And like I had very little room for compromise. And since I was like that for several years, now I'm trying to find this like middle ground
Happy
of
medium.
balance. Yeah, like it's okay to love really hard now that you know that you know how to put yourself as a priority and you'll never like not do that again. And it's okay to, love someone really hard and forgive and compromise and those types of things. So it's been such a journey for me finding balance in relationships. And like I said, it's never gone all the way like to marriage or anything. So I can't say that I'm a pro at it by any means, but
Yeah. Well, let
it's
me
been
ask.
fun learning.
But is it easier now? Maybe that because you're in a long distance relationship, which is something new, but at the same time, there's not that pressure of giving too much because you're not seeing each other as much. Does it make that time spent together more amazing because it's in the distance you see him every few weeks? Like, what is your take on this whole long distance thing?
Yeah, at first I was not a fan of the idea at all. I never wanted to get in a relationship like that. In fact, there have been other opportunities throughout
Yeah.
the years where it's like all these people that I knew growing up moved away and then they wanted to date me and I wasn't interested in the whole long distance thing. I think because my dad was an airline pilot as a kid and he was gone a long time. I
Oh,
found out as an adult all the shenanigans, I'm like, oh no, 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 no. I'm not going to be doing the long distance thing. So it's like trust issues and things like that. But once I finally just kind of opened up my heart a bit and was like, okay, why don't you just try and see? You know what I mean? Just try it. It made me realize like, yeah, this might be the perfect gateway, if you will, for me into a relationship because it gives me plenty of time to myself. It allows me to not get too caught up in a relationship while I'm getting to know someone. And it's made me learn how to compromise. So
interesting. It's funny. I have a friend whose father was a pilot. Good job. But he also had about 30 other girlfriends, and which is, that we just knew about it. But like, yeah, I'm not saying that's what your dad did, but like, yeah, I've heard about that.
So that's what my dad did, 100%. And so I had another
Oh,
friend a few years back. He was into a lot of the same stuff as me, scuba diving and yada yada. He was an airline pilot, lived in Miami. And we went on a trip, a dive trip to Honduras, which was fun and great. And then he wanted to date. And I was like, oh no.
red flag.
No.
Meanwhile, but he could have been a good one, but you
He
didn't
could
want to
have been,
even
he's
trust
married
it.
now.
Or could,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
childhood
Interesting.
trauma, it'll get you.
And I'm sure you help release that with people as well, right? With now emotion coding, you mentioned that before. Could you just share just a little bit more about that? Does that have to do with trauma?
It does. Well, trauma, it could be childhood trauma or it could be anything that you pick up along the way, but it's anytime you experience an emotion that you're unable to release. So
Okay.
let's say, for instance, that you have a pain in your side and you've tried everything. You've gone to the doctor, you've had scans, ultrasounds, blah, blah, blah. They can't figure out what it is, but it's like this chronic pain. Sometimes it's simply a trapped emotion that's coming from an organ that's in that area. And so you learn how to communicate with the subconscious as well as doing muscle testing so that you can release the emotion.
Interesting.
Sometimes, if these pains or emotions stay trapped long enough, they can become diseases.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Like chronic, I'm trying to think, like, think about trauma. I have trust issues from men. My parents never got along. My
Mm.
dad was very possessive, jealous, all that stuff. So I feel like my trauma, but that's why I feel like I'm single because I'm like scared deep down of a man because I watched how my mom grew up. When I grew up, I watched how my mom and her relationship was. Is that part of emotion coding? Could you break it from there or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And you don't have to, the thing about emotion code is you don't have to necessarily get to the root of the trauma. You simply ask the body, is this a trapped emotion? The body will respond, your subconscious responds, and your body acts in a way when you start asking your subconscious these things. And your muscles have a response to the answer and to the
Okay.
question. And then you use a chart, a coding chart, to figure out what the emotion is and where it is and how to locate it and how to release it. It's formulated by a doctor, a chiropractor.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Huh. And this is something that you do. So you are what's the emotion code practitioner or what's the
Yes. By the
awesome.
end of 2024, I will be certified to do emotion coding.
Awesome. Good for
Yes, we
you.
also formulated the belief coding and body coding. So I plan to do each one of these certifications, as well as the Reiki, because the lady that I started going to when I started getting Reiki, she is certified in all of these things and she has helped change my life. Like I never would have even considered dating and opening up and trying again after being hurt if she hadn't worked on me. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Because she worked on me and released things in me. Not everything, of course. I'm not like perfectly healed, obviously.
Hmm.
But I never would have even considered doing the things that I'm doing now if she hadn't opened up my heart space because I was so blocked. She's a she blah, blah.
I
I'm so
gotcha. I gotcha.
done.
I got it.
She was able to determine that I had a heart wall of 1,000 feet. That's not normal. Some people have like 200, 300 feet heart wall. That's like the wall that you've built around your heart because of trauma. Mine was
Oh,
1,000 feet.
I never
That's
even heard of that, but I think there's a country song called that, Heart Wall, and now I'm understanding what it means. I had no idea. So
yeah.
it should be how long or how open?
I mean, the goal is to have no heart wall at all,
Got
no
it.
wall around your
Wow.
heart, because ultimately the goal is that you trust yourself enough to
Too.
experience things. And yes, there may be times where you get hurt, but you never want to be so closed off that you don't even have the experience. You want to be open enough that you can experience it.
Yeah.
And then you trust yourself to know what to do in response. Does that make sense?
Yep. And
Like,
then
yeah, if someone um breaks your trust, or someone hurts you in some way, like a friend lets you down, or whoever it is, if you were closed off to the friendship in the first place, you wouldn't have any of the experiences, good or bad.
yep.
So if you open yourself up and let them, we're all going to hurt each other along the way, right? Nobody's perfect. Everybody
True.
lets people down. It's just that you're open enough to have the experience and trust yourself to know what to do when it happens.
Oh my gosh. Can I sing one more song? And I don't really sing. I have a horrible voice, but I don't know if you know the song. I got a heart like a truck. It's been dug through
Through
the
the
mud or
mud.
something.
Yep,
Yeah, trucked through the mud. Oh my God. Burns on.
that's me.
Yeah, that's what I said. All dreams and gasoline. Oh my God. I love it. Who sings that song? But it's a good song.
Is it Lainey Wilson?
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
I said, I should not be singing, but it's a good song. So a lot of
That
us feel that way. So this could all help us get out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good.
I'm going through it too. Like I said, I mean, I'm just a human experiencing things. And it is
Yeah.
hard for me sometimes, I'm still dealing with my own traumas and working through it, but these things help me. And you can even do emotion code on yourself. So that's nice.
How? What do you mean?
Like if you look up YouTube videos, it'll look
Okay.
up emotion code on YouTube. The doctor himself who formulated this will explain how
Oh,
you communicate with your subconscious and how your body responds and how to release the emotions.
wow. Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
but we don't
Yeah.
want to learn. We need to go to an expert because it's easier when you know how to do it.
It just kind of gives you that little bit of belief whenever you realize that you can communicate with your own subconscious. It just kind of adds a layer of like, oh my gosh, this seemed so like weird and woo woo. And now I can see how my body responds to this.
Awesome.
So the
Awesome.
certification is simply so that you can do it on other people.
Got it. But anyway, do it on themselves. Go to YouTube. All right. And
Yeah.
by the way, how do we find you? Third Eye Candy?
My Instagram is third_eye_candy. That's the best way to get a hold of me. My website is linked so that you can book. You can message me for questions, consultations, any of the things.
And now I want to sing, I want candy. Not not eye candy, but I want candy. Sorry. Sorry, another cheap, horrible song for me. Anyway, continue, darling. Sorry to distract.
What else? Okay, so can I ask you more questions?
Yeah, I love this. Go ahead.
Okay, so were you married before?
Never married.
For some reason, I thought that you were.
So funny. I was at the bank last week and the woman's like, I thought you were married. Didn't your husband die? I'm like, I never had a husband. I would have a dead husband at least. I'd have some money. I said, I have nothing. I said,
No kidding.
"Oh." Like she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't be. I'm like, that's actually great. What made you think that? She's like, I don't know. I thought you always had a husband. She's like, I just never see him like on social media. And I'm like, no. I said, I was with, this is what happened. Well, I was with that last year's boyfriend for about 5 years, and up until 2013 and 14, I should say. And I couldn't have a baby. We were trying to have a baby together. Naturally didn't work. We went to the doctor because we planned on getting married and being together. And I said, I just want kids like now. And he's like, oh, well, okay. But he really didn't want to, but he did. He started going to the doctor with me. I didn't like, hold him down. So
Right.
as we're going to the doctor to try to have a baby together, we're at nearing the end, which is now, okay, we have to now schedule, the time of the month. They're going to take certain medications. You're going to come back in. We're going to use his sperm. We're going to take out your egg. We're going to mix. That week before, I was supposed to go back to the doctor, but I already started all my shots for like the transfer of the stuff.
Yeah.
He backed out on me. So I was heartbroken, hysterical. I said, what? He's like, I'm just not ready. I'm like, I didn't drag you here against your will. I didn't. I said, now I already put money into this. I said, I've already started medication for my body. I said, I was never cried so hard. But what I did, I ran to the computer and I looked up sperm and I ordered my own. And 2 months later, I got pregnant myself. And I said,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
crazy. But like, so yeah, I did it myself. Like to say I'm like a mom, like I really was. And I was, as hard as it was, best thing. And you want to hear something ironic? Well, because you're a girl, I know we like talking. So here I am now pregnant all by myself. And I'm like still, hurt that I have no one, he's not with me, but I'm like strong, only to find out 3 months after we broke up, he started dating someone else. 6 months later, he got her pregnant. Just met her, knocked her up like that because he couldn't knock me up, right? Oh, wait. Then they're getting married. Now they have a baby there. And I'm like so envious, jealous, upset, really hurt now,
Yeah.
because it's like, what? You didn't want kids all of a sudden. Now you go get someone pregnant that you don't even know? Okay, hold on. And I believe in karma and wasn't wishing anything ill on him. But ironically, now, 8 years later, guess who reached out to my sister and who still talks to them? And he wanted to talk to me because he said his wife, who's soon to be his ex, is trying to contact me to bash him and they're going through a divorce. I'm like, what?
Oh,
So,
when someone does you that dirty like he did you, you don't even have to do anything because God is going to take care of it every single
yes,
time. It's not like God wants to punish, but it's like this is how you learn, right? You did this to this person, now you're going to learn what it feels like. He
yeah.
deserves that.
Is that crazy? It really is. So it's full
Oh,
karma. And then we talked on the phone. We texted a few times. He wants to meet up to chat. I said, sure, we will eventually, because I really loved him and his family. And I feel like I'm like kind of like I told you so. But
yeah.
he's been a friend of my family for years. We just haven't talked in years, because he was married. But still love him, of course. But not
Yeah.
that where anything's going on. But like you never know. It could be in the future or just not. But I'm just kind of like, see, what would have been so bad having a baby? You were that scared, and then you go knock up someone who's the wrong person, but you have a beautiful baby from it. So wait, hold on. So I said to him, I said, you can't really, I know you're upset, but things worked out. You have a beautiful girl now who's like 8 years
Right.
old. So yeah, yeah.
So did you guys meet up and talk or?
No, not we were supposed to the end of the summer, and then he had a late meeting. My sister was watching the kids for me because she loves him, and again, I was meeting till like 7:30, and that's just too late for me. By the time we meet each other an hour, so we never did. And then he went away, I went away. I was in Cape Cod, so he texted me the other day. I haven't texted him back. You never know, so I will text him, but I'm not in no rush or anything like that
Right.
because I'm like,
Yes.
what a story. Sorry.
Oh gosh. Well, I love that, you're to a point where you're just like, you're not like eager necessarily, but you're open to it, you know?
Were you ever married?
No.
Okay.
Nope,
See?
never been married.
I know. It's like, part of me is like, I always feel like, what's wrong with me? And then the other side now, I'm on the flip of it where all my friends who were married are like getting divorced and they're like, you had it right all along, Jill. And I'm just like, no, I still wish I had what you had. Grass is always greener, right? But
Right,
you
right.
see a lot of that and people are like, yeah, yeah. So who
I know.
knows?
I see people get triggered by me in my life
Mm,
because,
see,
I think people see women that stand independently and have made a successful life for themselves and they feel somehow intimidated by it or
yeah.
maybe threatened by it or maybe their life isn't exciting or something. I'm not really sure what it is, but people kind of come at me a lot for no reason. For me just staying in my own lane and living my life, people get triggered by it, but I've learned not to become offended by it anymore. It's like that's a you problem, not a me problem. And you know what else that I think that I realized this weekend is that part of the reason that I've had the same cycles over and over in my relationships is because I needed to like forgive my dad for the things that
Hmm.
he's done. It's like I've spent my whole life trying to understand why would he do that to women? Why did he treat my mom the way he treated my mom? Why would he treat women the way he treated women? He has so many great qualities, right?
Hmm.
But he treats women horribly and I always wondered like why I've got to figure out why. And then this weekend I realized it doesn't matter why, just go ahead and forgive him because by holding this resentment it's
Hmm.
manifesting into your relationships because you haven't forgiven him. You know what I
And
mean?
do you mind me asking, is he still with us? Is he alive? Do you still
Mhm.
talk to him, see him? Does he know about
And
any of this trauma with you or
I've
no?
I've always loved him. I love my
course.
dad. And there's lots of great things about him. He's a great businessman, a great friend. He's a great boss. He's a very decent dad. It's just as a spouse, it's very hard watching him, and he's been abusive. And, I don't understand that. I don't know if it's because his mom committed suicide or no, because it started way before that. I'm not really sure, but I've spent a whole lifetime trying to figure out why would a man do that to a woman? And at the end of the day, that's his journey, and I can forgive him because he's human. And I've done lots of terrible things myself, things I'm not proud of, and I've forgiven myself. So it's like I can forgive him, and that way it doesn't have this hold on me in my relationships that I'm always worried these men are going to do to me.
Just curious, does he know that you feel this way? Or have you ever discussed this with him, or something he has?
Part of the problem is I think I've always wanted him to take accountability for what he's done, but he won't. He won't. And so there's really no point in having a conversation, because he won't acknowledge it.
Wow. Powerful. And we are out of time. This happens always. We need an hour show. How do we contact you, my darling?
Okay, it's Third Eye Candy, _candy on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me, and all my information is there in the bio.
Always a pleasure. All right. Thank you so much. Great show as always. We got to talk more next time. All right. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.